So,
Wow, wow.
use some hard times we're living, especially for Gibson.
Yeah. Jason, you play a lot of guitar, right?
I have a little bit.
You've owned a couple guitars.
Probably.
Guitars?
At this point, this is where the editor puts in a bunch of photos of something that I really don't do.
No, so yeah, there's a couple articles out that Gibson is in some financial trouble. They need to either get their debt figured out by July or probably going to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So you've owned a Gibson guitar. So what do you think is going to happen if Gibson just folds up shop and starts selling guitars?
I feel like someone's just going to buy them out. That's all I can think of to keep the name going. I mean,
yeah, I think it's a name because Gibson guitars are pretty expensive and they're kind of well known. Like
yeah,
we were talking,
I mean, they've been around a really long time.
like we were talking, like you said, their most popular guitars probably everyone knows is the SG or the Les Paul, right?
Yeah, I'd say SG, Les Pauls are definitely two most popular models. You've seen so many different artists use them, from like Santana to AC/DC, and they're very versatile type of instruments. And yeah, I owned an SG, not a very high end one of the lower grade ones. Not an Epiphone though, a step above that. But
yeah, because that's another brand within.
Sold it for about $300, and all of it went towards McDoubles.
I never owned a Gibson. I think if you were to buy one now, they might actually be worth something. If they completely like stop making their guitars, I think their value might shoot up.
I mean, you'll probably still get it for the retail value. A used one, it'll probably still go for what most people are selling it for currently used, and that's going from like an independent seller, not like a company like Guitar Center or Sam Ash trying to sell them for whatever they could. I mean, realistically, and it also depends on the rarity of the model.
Gotta get
condition.
The Les Paul Sunburst, right? Isn't that what Paul McCartney plays or did play or something similar?
I think he had a Sunburst, yeah, because he had the bass and guitars, because he mostly used to play bass in Beatles. Because he had
all the Beatles you said played.
All of them played Gibsons. Yeah. Then sometimes they do Steinberger. I mean, most people in the music business, they'll try different brands, whether it's like something they had custom made or just comfortability of playing and everything. And I don't know, Gibsons were always kind of cool though. And yeah, I mean, if they file a bankruptcy and then they just stop making them entirely, it'll be very strange to never see them again. But I personally think someone would try to buy it out
just for that brand of Gibson.
Yeah, I would think it'd be another music company too. That's just my opinion, because they figure, well, we're doing successful in our way of selling instruments. Now we'll buy this to have the name and make even more money.
Right now, the music kind of world's in kind of a weird kind of haze, because like electric or EDM style music is very popular now, and you don't need an actual guitar.
No, you don't even need a full band.
Yeah, it's one person with a program or on his computer that can simulate and make those type of sounds.
Yeah, you don't even need a whole bunch of equipment to do everything by hand. You just fool around with stuff on your laptop. And
so I was just reading. So I think Fender had some similar financial struggles last year. Mm-hmm. So I mean, another music instrument company, because there's not a lot of people out there starting their own little rock band. And if they are, they're definitely not going out there and buying a Gibson right now.
No, yeah. I mean, they're probably... And, well, the other thing, too, is most people, they're just buying their stuff used because,
the secondary market's huge.
Yeah, because you get the stuff from retail, it's going to cost a lot, other than the price of it and the whole tax. And there's like a whole music tax, which is almost like doubling your price. I know it sounds crazy, but I used to go to different various music shops, and you buy something, and then you're paying almost like another additional $50, and that's your tax.
Well, that's Chicago for you. Come up with some other tax for you.
I know exactly. But yeah, buying it secondary, used. If you're someone who knows what you're looking for and everything, then you're definitely stealing away from the music companies. And it's not I don't think it's 100% a bad thing. I mean, it's bad for companies like Gibson and Fender and whatnot, because they're giving their instruments to different online retailers and music retailers to sell their stuff for a price. But if you're just going to wait till someone has it used, that company's not making the money. That guy who used to own it and is getting rid of it is making the money.
So we were talking so if a company like, say, Yamaha buys Gibson, would you still buy a Gibson? Even though it's now made by Yamaha, who's kind of known for not really making guitars, but making like cheaper little like starter instruments?
I'd be very curious and picky. Usually I'm not. I would definitely have to test out what they have as soon as people start selling them and release them. If a company like Yamaha was to do that, and if I'd have to make sure I play it through the right amp because I wouldn't want to play it through anything digital. It's got to be something kind of pure so I can see how this thing's going to sound 100%.
Got to go with a nice tube head amp.
Yeah, I mean, because you do that, you can get more of the pure sound.
So
if you're trying to add something digital,
like for instance,
you're not getting the real sound. You're getting a digital boost. So you're making it sound better.
So for instance, because the amp PV, right? They don't make those anymore, do they? Like the 5150?
No, PV still makes amps. They just don't make the 5150.
So the 5150 is like a used kind of like...
What they make is 6505 and 6505 plus. That's because they ended their contract with Eddie Van Halen like years ago. And so in order to keep making that type of amp head with the same parts and everything, they just changed the name to make legal matters.
So the PV 5150 is kind of looked as like revered as like kind of like a really good head to get, is it not?
No, yeah, it's a very versatile head, a very rare one.
I have a feeling that's going to happen to the Gibson guitars if they stop being made altogether. Like a really nice SG or really nice Les Paul's going to be like, oh shit, that's an original Gibson Les Paul, like, and that value potentially will go up because they're not going to be getting made anymore.
No, yeah, it could. Yeah, I mean, like with 5150s, you can find most for like $500 to $600, especially in like really good condition.
And that's a used one. That's you can definitely buy a lot of new heads for that, if not cheaper than that price.
You can buy decent new heads for that price.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna get a 6505, well, most of the time you see 6505 plus. I don't know if they still make 6505s. They might, but usually those ones are like between like $800 to like $1,000, like brand new. But yeah, that's why it's always good to get it used. I mean, yeah, it sucks you're stealing away from the business because PV's not going to make money off of some guy selling it from his garage. But yeah, they originally made their money, and now someone else doesn't want it, so they're just going to sell it for a little less. And people always think if you add stuff onto it, it's going to make more value.
Well, they can change out the tubes and stuff, right? That's going to help.
I mean, it could, I guess, depending on the brand you put in. I mean, I never really thought about it that way. I mean, no one really thinks that the tubes would add much value difference to it. Unless, I mean, I'm just saying off the top of my head, unless there's some fucking balls to the wall, amazing tubes that no one's ever really used. And it's like, whoever thought of this?
No,
maybe, but no one really looks as to like, oh, you got these tubes in here. Oh, that raises value. Like, no, they just want to look at the head.
Does it work? And how does it sound,
does
right?
It work? Is it still loud? Does it make the walls rip apart? Okay, cool. Yeah, $600. But you try to trade that stuff in the Guitar Center, they're just going to give you 40% less than what they're selling it for.
Even Guitar Centers are kind of like a we used to go to Guitar Center a lot. I haven't been there in years now, and I think last time we went there, it's kind of like a ghost town. Even like, just feels true. like in general retail is struggling, like going to like an actual brick and mortar store. But now like a store that sells music instruments that nobody's even playing, it's like they're getting hit harder than like your standard like Kohl's or something.
Yeah, every time I go in one, it's like, oh, it's easier for me to find a guitar and a bench and an amp to use because there's not that many people in here. And even half the time, I don't even fool around the guitars as much anymore. I just go to the little keyboard sections. And, I don't know how to play piano, but then just
because I would imagine like you can probably buy a guitar off Amazon or no. What's that? Sweetwater Music. Like there's already a lot of online sales for guitars.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, we're lucky. Sweetwater is just like in Indiana. I forget which part, but I mean,
the shipping's pretty quick, right?
Yeah, the shipping's usually pretty quick. Most of the time, the shipping's free. You still pay tax, of course. It's standard for any music retailer. And usually, you get really good warranties and everything. All kinds of good coverage.
We should try. You should start your own guitar company after Gibson folds.
I should. It'll be called Flappy Ball Guitars.
Start making your own guitars.
Yeah, I will.
Because didn't we fix that Gibson or one of your guitars? Did we change out some parts? The guitars are pretty simple.
There's a lot of stuff I've worked on. Yeah, I mean, they're simple to work on.
So I think
changed like tube knobs.
I think that's probably why that brand would live on because it's kind of iconic and
right. Now if they weren't, I don't know. If they were just getting cream, they probably wouldn't be around still. But no, they've been around for like decades. So
like 1902, I think. Yeah. Somewhere, and they're based out of Tennessee.
Yeah, that's why the music company equivalent of Disney would want to buy the other music equivalent of Fox.
I think a huge company that could take a risk like Yamaha, why not buy them? But I don't think another music, I think it'd be weird if Fender were to buy them because they're almost like competitors. But I guess if you can buy your competition, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it gives them a chance to make more money, make it off the name. And
that's really what you're buying now is the brand, because I don't think all of a sudden people are going to start running out and buying brand new Gibsons. I think you're going to see a lot more in the used or secondary market because they will become rare and harder to come across.
No, it will be. I mean, their brand is barely even being bought.
Yeah. So with that, go out and buy a brand new SG if you can, or go pick up a used one.